Take my hand, oh Abba Father, show me what you say. Guide me from within my spirit, I will let you lead.
What's going on, Neil? Good night. So today I'm just going to be showing y'all how to paint in sand real quick, and then I'm going to be hopping off and working on a bigger project. And I really just wanted to emphasize that sand is not always brown or just solid white. It's there's a mixture between like yellows and blues and purples even, but there's a lot of white involved, which um, which creates the colors that you see around here. So that's what we're going to work on today, and I'm going to move the camera so y'all can see everything. There we go. I'm going to do my best not to knock the computer and the piece at the same time. Give a shout out where y'all are watching from and such. I will be paying attention to the comments as much as possible, but I'm just going to be showing the different colors that are going on here. And the first thing that I always do is I grab a big glop of white on the palette. I go for, I try to make the darkest color possible first, which is just phthalo blue, and then some crimson. I try to keep them separate because I dip back into both of them repeatedly. And it's more towards the crimson side, so it almost looks black. And when you come in with, we'll say you just snag a little bit of that, go into the white you got right here. Actually, this is more towards the blue side, to be totally honest. And what we're trying to accomplish is creating a distant looking sand. So we're going to grab just a little bit of yellow to put in there, which creates almost a brown. And you just keep adding until you get that consistency that you want. And in my case, we want it to be almost milky. And sometimes you'll run into where it looks almost gray. In which case, if you ever do that, it's okay. Just go wash your brush off. Good evening, Sheila. It's good to see you. Thanks for jumping on. Yeah, if you ever run into that, just go ahead and wash your brush off with some odorless paint thinner or some mineral spirits, whichever you use. And try again, because you've got infinite amounts of trying that you can do. And I typically use medium yellow where this is concerned. And sometimes you can tell on your palette what it's going to turn out to be like when you're making it and mixing it. So I like to go back and forth between adding crimson and blue and yellow. Yellow is a brightening color. So if you want it more towards the brown side, keep it more to the yellow. Just keep adding yellow, and it will work wonders for you. So now that we've got a pretty close to what I want right here on the more towards the yellow side, I'm just going to grab a bunch of white and try not to knock off my white. And I'm just going to keep adding white until it's barely noticeable what color it is. So you can just grab the corner of it and then go to a new spot and just keep adding and thinning out the paint. And then what helps is just grabbing the corner. Hey, thank you. Appreciate y'all sharing out. So whenever I'm trying to go brighter and brighter and brighter, I typically grab a big glob of white and just hit the corner of the color. Just grab a corner of it so that you can barely see that it's brown, but just enough to where you know it's brown. And then all you have to do is cut across it and then test it out on your canvas. And if it's to the consistency that you like, then keep going with it. Now, this particular piece I was just horsing around with while I was watching someone catch a 200-pound stingray for about 3-4 hours, and then lo and behold, it's almost time to stream. So I stopped that. And if you ever mix or muddy your paints with other colors that you didn't want there, just go wipe off your brush with a paper towel. It is that easy. Or if it's not coming off at that point, just go into that odorless paint thinner. It works wonders. And wipe it off real good on a paper towel afterwards. You don't want that paint thinner to be inside the painting because then it just kind of strips away the paint. And what I'm trying right now is to relatively keep this whole thing with thick texture. I'm not too worried about making it look realistic. This is more of a quick impressionistic painting, which just means you see the indication of different colors on it. And I'm just picking up paint and making it real thick, keeping it this similar color that I've wanted. And you can also, if you wanted to, you can go with blue, which I'm about to try out. Because some points you'll see all sorts of different, like clouds making shadows and stuff. Sorry that I'm blocking your view, but the way I've got this studio set up until I get myself a really nice camera or video cam, which maybe within 2 paychecks from now. Until then, I'm going to be going across your path. Why, hello there, Josh. How are you? Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that very much. Man, sweating like a dog right now. The studio's hot because I kind of have to turn off the fan just because of, it makes a real loud squeaky noise, and some of the viewers were commenting about that, and I was like, you know what, I'll humor them. And then it's I'll be sitting here baking, so it'll be good conditioning for when I go out and play tennis. And I'm gonna go play tennis after I finish my next project. It's been a while since there we go. So just to explain to y'all real quick, the next thing I'm demonstrating is the blue, the phthalo blue and white. You want it to be really, really close to the white side. You don't want it towards the blue side too much. So this is about what you're working with right here. Barely see that it's white, or barely see that it's blue. And you make it real thick when you put it on there. Pick it up, put it down. That's how you make it. Well, that's how you put it on there. And then you can just go back into the whites real thick, and then you've already got it pretty close to what you want. So just mix it up. And because phthalo blue is so powerful, it'll automatically just mix into what you've already got on there. And then just wipe it off, and then go back into it. Pick it up, put it down, rinse and repeat. Real simple, right? If you want it thick, that's how you do it. And a lot of people like texture, so if you're trying to paint and create with textures, that's how you do it. Turn on that fan. No. I will suffer in the heat. I've only got like what, maybe this much to paint now. I'll be all right. I know how annoying that fan is. All right. The next thing I wanted to do was show y'all. Actually, I'll get a close up here right towards the end. Looks like a chaotic Bob Ross palette. I mean, you have no idea, man. This is the Jared palette. And I was actually working with this whole nonsense, and I barely stripped and cleaned it. And I've got it semi-organized, but because I didn't clean it at one point since I've owned this thing, like I didn't take a palette knife to it and strip it completely, some of it's just permanently dried on it. I can still tell what everything is, but that's the thing. It's still gonna be on there, which is okay. I'm pretty sure Bob Ross would just toss his palettes after every one of them. I think he used wood ones, if I'm not mistaken, like disposable wooden ones. Oh, hello. Oh, so one other thing that I do naturally, and I just forgot to tell y'all. Right, we can handle it. Okay. Yeah, duly noted. Next time I'll have the fan on, but it's like I have to go through a jungle of my crap to get to it. So I'm not going to turn it on. What I also wanted to explain to y'all, if you're going to paint like aerial views like this, was whenever you go in and you paint like sand dunes or grass and stuff, sea oats and stuff that you got on the beach, what you're going to do is leave little blank spots for those darkest points. And typically I would paint in the darker points, but I kind of forgot because I was just kind of focused on painting the sand. So I'll actually go and do that right now. I've got a few paintings that I've completed. Well, actually, that are in the works. They're not completely done, but I got a couple of them. Oh, your palette looks like this. This is a wonderful way to have your palette. I'm just kidding. If you can clean it up at all, I recommend it. It's kind of, it's not very clean. All right. What was I going to say? Oh, right. I was going to teach you all about the grass points. So all you have to do for that is real simple. You just basically take this towards the red side, this basically blackish looking color. It's purple, but it's so phthalo blue and crimson mixed together. And you need to take a little bit of yellow, keep it more towards the yellow side. Just tap it in, then start pulling it together. If you want it real thick, then just add more paint in the same ratios that you do. And then wherever there's not white paint, because you don't want this to show white paint, I use a pie palette or pie plate. That's ingenious. I used to use paper plates until I bought this thing. It's like 15 bucks. So what you do is you go in, you just kind of tap them in, and you can actually create little hills. It's almost like grassy areas. But because it's an aerial view, it is okay to have these little blank spaces in between. Typically, if you want to just speed up, you can just kind of touch and pull and then almost do a tapping motion. And you're going to want it more towards the blue side and be very, very not generous. What's the other word? Conservative with your phthalo blue on adding to it because it's just stupid powerful. Sometimes I even go back and grab some crimson just to kind of tone it down and then put it more towards the towards the crimson side and just kind of formulate around these areas. In Florida, we have a lot of dunes. So just make sure you got your shapes down and you're following the curves too. Because it's at this point you got your light source coming from this direction or coming that way, coming this way. Hey, it's good to see you, Maria. Watching from the UK. Yeah, keep it away from your whites and follow your contours. Sometimes we have some of the same dunes that just go for miles. Like in Destin area, we have all sorts of little sand dunes. Well, not little, they're actually huge. They're like 20, 30-foot dunes. And then what you do, once you've got that done, is go and grab your other brush, go back into some, we'll say white and yellow, because this is another method of painting sand, just because I can show y'all. That's what I'm going to do. This is just a teaching piece. Yeah, just about like this consistency right here. And just keep adding white until it's almost completely gotten rid of all that yellow. And you want it thick. And then just go glop it on there, nice and thick. Where you want your sun to be the brightest, or your sand spots to be the brightest. Typically, you would have a little bit of purple right here as wet sand, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to worry about that. Then just keep going, rinsing and repeating. Getting thick glops towards your sandy areas or your light areas, especially like right here. And you can actually grab some of this here. What is it called? Like the grassy areas. You can actually grab it and pull it down to create the illusion of shadows. And then another trick. Now you get your little detail brush. You can go back into that blue to create little shadowy areas. We'll say this guy didn't get hit by the shadows or by the sunlight. Okay, that's not bright enough. So we'll go into a little bit more phthalo blue. I just poked right into it. This is some phthalo blue that I already mixed. Just poked into it and then went into a little bit more of this white and phthalo blue. And that's about right. So we're actually going to pull around some of this. Another trick you can do is just grab white on your brush and literally just pull that paint that you've already got on there, the grassy stuff, just pull it to create your shadows. It's a real easy trick that I learned a while ago, like a couple weeks ago, for painting sand. Then all you do is just go back into that white and blue and rinse and repeat. Just pull, pull, pull. And we'll say we got a couple shadows right here. And then we'll put some yellow right here. And I'm going to leave some open spots where we've got sand, like shadowy sand. And it is quite okay to have, oh, also one other thing, you just want to follow the contours. So we'll say this guy's got some lift to him, some angles, and there are multiple different plateaus. So we're going to pull the sand upwards to make it look like it's higher than it actually is. Doink. And a doink. And that's literally it. Super easy, huh? This is how you paint sand dunes and sand. Multiple different ways. So you got your whites, your browns, your blues, and purples. And then you can also take a little bit of white and yellow to create your brightest spots if you want. Kind of paint in between different spots. And you can actually take your little darker brush and just paint those grassy areas in between. Try to keep it away from the white paint so it's not milky. You want to be able to see the brush strokes like right here without kind of blending it together and making it muddy. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, is just keeping it muddy. And I'll show y'all an example of what mud would look like. So mud is basically when you go into this thick white paint or thick paint of any kind, and it doesn't look crisp like this. It looks more towards here. I'm just going to do it right here. When you just keep pushing it on there, then it looks like mud. Now I'm going to get y'all real close so I can show y'all. Here we go. This little point right here. That's what we call mud. This is kind of crisp right here. These little grassy duney areas. It's crisp. But this point is muddy. And the reason why is because you can't see the individual brush stroke, like the little strands of the brush. Here, I'll show y'all. So these have individual bristles on them, little hairs. You want to see each individual hair for it to look at its best. And because I repeatedly blended, I caused mud. And that's what you want to avoid. I mean, you can make it look muddy and it still look really good. But I try to stay away from that, personally. And then all you have to do is just wipe off your brush with a little paper towel and go back to work. Okay, we got another comment. I've learned a lot from watching you. Well, awesome. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell the world. You can now paint. And just relaxing is also a huge part of it, because when you relax, you paint at your best. Now, this piece is done. It's good. It took me about maybe 25 minutes to paint. Not bad. If y'all have any more questions, just go ahead and ask them now. I'll do like a 5-minute Q&A session while I'm cleaning my brushes and stuff. Oh, so I wanted to comment about, while y'all are typing in your questions, I wanted to make a comment about my my painting from last night. That one, I think I already explained it in the post, but I couldn't find any motivation to paint whatsoever. And then I was like, God, what in the world verse do you want me to go read, or what painting should I do next? He's like, go read Revelations 22. I was like, all right. So that's what I did. Went to Revelations 22, and sure enough, I was like, oh, it's talking about the throne. I am definitely painting that. Didn't really have to do much other than reading the Bible, and I already got motivation to paint like a 20, I think it was like 35 to 45-minute painting. It was about this size. It was a 8 by 10. It was small. Gonna give y'all a real quick sneak peek. I haven't shown this one to people yet. Oh, now I'm wearing it again. That's all right. I've been trying to actively avoid showing people this painting, but this is a sneak peek y'all can get. It's not done. I've got a few things that I still have to add, but this is more of a completed and more detailed version of what was just painted, except a completely different composition and color scheme. So, hope you all enjoy that little tidbit. All right. And then this is the finished product. I kept it real thick towards the top, nice and thick paint. And I went towards the purples and blues, kept it real dark for the drop-offs, because the further out in sea you get, the further out in the ocean you get, you'll have really, really dark spots in the ocean, which are just deep areas. I learned that while I was fishing for sharks with a buddy of mine. His name's Ryan. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to go bug him, see if we can't go out fishing sometime next paycheck. And then the closer ones, where you got your lighter colors, these are sandbars. And the darker areas are deeper areas. And the shallower areas are a lot lighter. And they've got a lot more yellows and greens that show up. At least this is in Florida. And then towards the sandy areas, you'll have whites and blues. Blues are going to be your shadows typically. And then the browns are just areas where they have some sunlight hitting them, but not entire sunlight. Yellows are going to be more, you're getting full blast of the sun. But in here in Florida, a lot of times yeah, it is relaxing actually. Thank you. Here in Florida, you'll actually get, oh goodness, white sand, not brown sand. So most of the time, I'll be painting with the blues and the whites, and even some of the yellows. I'll stay away from the browns a lot of times, just because that's typically what we have. And yeah, that's my take on today's painting, and just painting beaches in general. And I've been doing a lot of those lately because I'm actually preparing to sell my work over at a farmer's market. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have to fill out an application for that. I'm going to go over and see what different taxes I have to formulate for that. It'll be a good old time. Get to meet new people. Hopefully, sell a few paintings. That'd be awesome. If not, I get to talk their ears off about Jesus. And that's it. I'm gonna pray for y'all real quick before I dip out. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to impart to y'all. This is kind of weird for me, but I'm just hoping this actually helps y'all out with y'all's gifting for art. And anybody who comes on and watches, you're no exception. You're included on the list. I bless y'all with and impart to y'all all the art gifting and creative gifting that I have. And I pray that it increases y'all. And y'all speed up just how I was sped up just from my time with painting with him, with God. All right. Love y'all. Y'all have a good one. And don't get into too much trouble getting paint all over yourself. well, if you're not getting it all over yourself, you're not doing it right. So, y'all have a blessed evening. Love y'all, and bye.